You're listening to hashtag No Filter with Zack Peter. I am enjoying a nice hot mint tea here in studio today, just chilling because I clearly ate something that was not, that my stomach didn't like. So to everybody that's hating on the gluten-free, I just say suck it because it's like real and my stomach can vouch for it. I'm super excited because one, I'm going to be at Expo West this weekend. And it's kind of like my favorite event of the entire year. It's like a 4-day conference and they have like floors and floors of different booths and like all this natural products and natural foods. And it's just, I eat so much and I take so much stuff home, and I'm going to be filming my Zack Attack series there. It's going to be fun. So I'm super excited. And I'm also excited because tonight for dinner I'm making my famous salmon burgers, and that's like my favorite thing right now. And yes, it's from the Gwyneth Paltrow detox because, you know, when you're a health freak, why not go balls to the wall and follow everything that Gwyneth Paltrow does, right? I'm also really excited today, though, because my guest is dope. I've been following him on Facebook, and so have a lot of my friends, mainly through all of the election aftermath. He has been doing a great job of covering it, and I'm really excited to chat with him today. Please welcome. He's the host of The Breakdown on the Young Turks, Mr. Hasan Piker.
What's going on?
How are you, Hasan?
I'm great. You were talking about Gwyneth Paltrow's.
Yes.
Is that
detox?
Goop?
It's
is that
goop.
What that is?
It's goop.
Oh my god!
I'm
Isn't
gooping
that like
it to the wall.
$1 million?
Oh, it is. For every morning right now, I'm drinking her $200 breakfast shake.
Wow.
The one that broke the internet.
Podcasting must be paying really well, or there's some secret that I wasn't aware of, because, like, I mean, YouTube, Facebook, social media is great and all, but I don't know if I could afford a $200 shake every morning.
Well, here's the secret. It's not really $200 like all the media outlets were reporting. That's just how much it costs to buy all of the ingredients that you'll be using to make it over the course of the next few weeks.
Oh, okay. That's fake news. They totally misrepresented. Totally misrepresented. Poor Gwyneth.
Oh,
yeah.
It's killing her right now at home.
Oh my God, I'm sure. I've seen her do some interviews with, I think Chelsea. She did an interview there. I don't know. It's a little out of touch for me, but then again, I'm not here to disparage Gwyneth Paltrow.
Okay, so let's get in touch with you, and I like to start off the show with some icebreaker questions, okay?
Mm-hmm.
So I have some fun questions that I'm going to throw at you, and I want you to answer them as deeply as you can.
Okay, perfect.
Okay, first one. What's one word your mom would use to describe you?
Asinine.
It's a very nice word. Okay, give me a fun fact. What's one thing about you people wouldn't expect?
I used to be, and this kind of sucks because it's my like go-to answer for this, but I used to be a professional show jumper up until I was 18 years old. I had a horse. So yeah, I
Interesting.
Professionally competed in show jumping. I was way too large even back then.
How tall are you?
I'm 6'4". But
okay.
I mean, back then I was not 6'4", but still way too large for show jumping. Because in the end of the day, these horses need to jump over these obstacles with me in their back. My horse died from an unrelated kidney issue, but I quit shortly thereafter.
Because your horse died?
No, because I hated it. It was it was something that my parents like kind of forced me to do. It was more like, oh, everyone's doing it. Like, the neighbor's boy is show jumping as well, so why not try it out? And I hated it because it was so isolated. I mean, I love my horse and I love animals, but I always wanted to play basketball with teammates, and you know, I got to achieve that after, unfortunately, my horse died.
Oh, well, I'm sorry. What was your horse's name?
My horse's first name when we purchased her was Showgirl.
Showgirl.
And then my dad changed it to Seljan. But in my heart, I always called her Showgirl.
Well, may she rest in peace. I like Showgirl as a name.
Yeah.
Like, I think I may name one of my offspring that.
That's an interesting name to name your offspring, but then again, you know...
but just think about it. Like, saying... Like, think of how much joy that would bring you to, like, say, hi, showgirl. Good morning, showgirl. Like, every morning, that would just bring joy to my life.
I mean, I feel like it's kind of selfish because your daughter or son's upbringing would be...
for my own pleasure.
There would be some minor setbacks, I feel like, when they're growing up with a name like Showgirl. I feel like they'd get picked on a lot.
See, but like as my mom would put it, it's going to build character.
That's true. Mm-hmm. That's also true.
Confidence.
I didn't think about the building character part, yeah.
Okay, now the next question is probably the most telling of all, but what is your drink of choice?
Macallan 12 neat double.
Oh, I know someone you would like.
Okay, I'm listening.
I will work my matchmaking after the show. Are you single?
Yes, I am.
Okay, single and looking.
Depends on what you mean by looking. I'm
you swiping on Tinder?
My work right now. No, I'm not on Tinder anymore. Actually, it's funny that you mentioned Tinder. A PR company reached out to me recently, and they want me to be a part of Tinder Select, which apparently is this new. It's Tinder, but it's more. I don't know. It's like it's a little bit more selective, I guess. Probably going to be like a little elitist. I don't know. We'll see what happens.
Right up Gwyneth Paltrow's alley.
What?
I said right up Gwyneth Paltrow's alley.
Oh, Gwyneth Paltrow is all over Tinder Select. Like, all over. Except probably not. Gwyneth Paltrow might be on this other dating app that I'm on currently, though. It's called Raya.
Yes.
Have you heard of it?
Yes, I have. Aren't you not supposed to talk about it, though?
People are... First of all, I think people want to... I mean, you're not supposed to talk about who's on the app.
Okay.
Which I won't, but I can mention that I'm on it. But what I mean... I don't get it. I mean, first of all, they want to make more money, so they have to promote it somehow.
Right.
And they do have a press, like they do have PR. So in the end of the day, I'm sure they want to spread the word a little bit, you know?
Right.
So that they can get more celebrities on board. Maybe that's what I'm doing on here right now. Maybe that's why I came on here, so I could talk about Raya, the dating app.
See, it's a like they know how to get you to market it. Now, my listeners are going to be like, how do I get on Raya? And they're going to be Googling it right now.
Oh, for sure.
Okay, what's your most embarrassing moment that you learned the most from?
18 years old, I started going to University of Miami, and I blacked out for the first time ever, and I woke up in the hospital in a hospital gown. My friends broke me out of the hospital. I didn't have any information on me, yeah, I didn't have in a hospital gown. They broke me out of the hospital. They found where I was. And I had to ride Miami's underutilized train system, I guess. I don't know, whatever.
In a hospital gown.
Yeah, in a hospital gown. Had to go and, I went back to sleep in my dorm room and pondered about all the mistakes that led me to blacking out in the middle of Coral Gables and ending up in a hospital.
That's a great story.
I wish I could tell you I stopped blacking out after that, but I didn't. For a while, I still had that problem. I no longer do, luckily, but...
Yeah, I mean, it takes me like 8 times to learn the lesson, but like by the 9th time, I've got it down.
Oh, that's good. Yeah, you're a better man than I then, because it took me like 88 times, probably.
Okay, last question. If you had to date a Kardashian, which one would it be?
Oh, my God. Are the Jenners...
Everybody always asks that, and I allow it, so I will allow it. You can have a Jenner.
Yeah, I mean, then super easy. It's Kendall. Like, Kendall's a peach.
Okay, if we ruled out a Jenner, who would it be?
Oh, God. Now you're killing me, because, like, it's awful. Now, all of a sudden, this is no longer a fun game. It's an awful game. Is there a suicide option?
Well,
what are we talking?
One choice, I once had a Kris Jenner, who's like half Kardashian, half Jenner. So if you want to go in that route, I'll allow you.
No, I'll go with Kim, because I'd be Eskimo Bros with like a bunch of cool dudes. And also Ray J. But still, a bunch of cool dudes, including Kanye. I love Kanye.
Yeah, I think her and Ray J are still close.
I would do it for the opportunity of being Eskimo brothers with Kanye West, which I love.
Yes.
And respect.
Okay, so Hasan, this is how I found you, was you make these viral videos and you have a segment that's called Tomi Takedown, where you basically call out Tomi Lahren, who many people know her as like the very loudmouth blonde. Yeah, I mean, that's putting it nicely.
Everything wrong with America, like a part or a certain subsect of the American population.
So talk to me, what is her deal? Like, what do you think? Like, do you think it's a shtick? Do you think she's really, this heated up? Because, I mean, she's got a lot of energy that's just boiling, and she, for people that aren't familiar with her, she kind of spits out these very conservative opinions about pretty much everything that's going to get her attention, and her videos are always circulating online. And so what you've done now is you've started to break them down bit by bit and prove all of the contradictions that she's spitting out.
Yeah. Okay. Honestly, like you're like the fourth outlet I've talked to so far this week on Tomi Lahren and whether she genuinely believes what she's saying or not. And as much as I appreciate the fascination with whether or not she's like hypocritical, what she's doing is awful for many different reasons. And no, to answer your question, no, I don't think she believes what she's saying, because I mean, as much as I think that yes, someone of Tomi Lahren's like upbringing and demographic could possibly believe in these like really antiquated, old school Republican ideals, like not even Republican, but just like really staunch conservative ideals and just backwards bigotry. Yeah, someone could possibly believe those things. For some reason, I don't believe Tomi thinks that. I think she's just opportunistic and has realized very early on that people on the internet, or people in general, especially the American people, and especially conservatives, don't really care about facts and care more about opinions instead, specifically opinions that mirror their own. And that's exactly what Tomi Lahren does. She just regurgitates these really old school, Republican bar talk mentality is what I call it. It's just like two Republicans that are agreeing with one another, talking about issues that affect the country from their perspective.
So how do you feel that type of rhetoric is contributing to the current political climate among, millennials, people in their 20s and early 30s that are now starting to talk about all of this?
I mean, they're sharing it, they're legitimizing it, they're normalizing it, they're not questioning it, and that is what hurts.
Yeah, I agree. I think that's the most damaging.
Which is kind of why I started doing this, because I was like, okay, this is absolutely preposterous. Like, she has 4 million likes at this point. She gets around, 4 million to 2 million views on average on every single one of her videos. Like that, a lot of people have to agree with this person. This is crazy. Like, I need to do my best and play my part in, not stopping the dissemination of this information, but at least countering all of the insane nonsense that comes out of that, publication. And to my surprise, a lot of people responded well to it. Originally I was thinking about just doing one video. And then I asked the audience, I was like, if you guys like this, I'll keep doing them. And people responded so positively to it that I decided to, and this is kind of a Mean Girls reference, but I decided on Wednesdays we take down Tomi. Yeah.
I like it. So do you think the two of you will ever be friends? Will you ever go on a date? Will that ever kind of simmer down?
So the date thing is a joke, obviously, and I'm sure some people get it, but there are definitely a lot of people that don't get it, because I will get every like 12th message or 13th message will be like, wait a minute, like, why do you want to date her? Like, I don't understand. Or some people even go so far as to say, like, it's sexist to say that you want to date Tomi Lahren, and that is a concept I simply do not understand. One, it's a joke, and two, even if it wasn't a joke, I always explicitly mention that I think she's incredibly intelligent, and she's doing this on purpose, and I'm willing to look past our differences to engage her in open and honest discourse. And that's kind of what I'm saying. I don't want to like actually date her. I'm not crazy. But then again, I do, like, all of my exes are conservative blonde girls from the South. So I don't know. Maybe she does fit the profile.
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask. Would you ever, like, really date somebody that's that politically off from you?
Both of my exes, and I live in Los Angeles, a liberal safe haven by every means. Both of my exes have been one from Texas, one from Virginia, both blonde, both conservative, both very vocal about their political beliefs.
And what obviously didn't work out.
Well, yeah, it didn't, but I am but human, so I don't learn from my mistakes.
Maybe by the 88th time you'll get it.
Probably.
So,
hopefully, fingers crossed.
So why do you think that there's such a disconnect in our country right now? I think I see it a lot more with like millennials, with the younger generation clashing with the older generation. Like you were saying, you know, Tomi's kind of regurgitating some of these older mentality. You know, why do you think, I mean, is it just a cultural difference, or what's your take on it?
The difference between millennials and the generations that came before us is no different than the baby boomers versus Generation Y. Like, I talked about this a little bit on my Simon Sinek video. I don't know if you're familiar with that one, but yeah. Where he did a pretty viral video on the question of millennials, and it was kind of self-serving.
Yeah, where that video pissed me off, actually.
Yeah, he was just grossly generalizing, and, you know, he did a very Tomi Lahren thing of just, like, not really fact-based, but kind of just dishing out opinions that people will, by and large, agree with and share and say, man, that guy's right. But it's no different than the previous generations fighting with previous generations that came before them. It's just that I think times change, and we're constantly evolving. And we don't understand it. We can't comprehend what the youth is doing. When in reality, what the youth is doing will become culture inevitably.
Right.
And I think a good point of reference for that would be the South Park episode that took a look at PewDiePie. I don't know if you watched it or not, but for those of you who don't know what it was, what it was about, it just kind of took a look at PewDiePie, the YouTube gamer channel. Right. He's like the number one YouTuber out there, quite controversial as of late. But it took a look at how like 5-year-olds and 12-year-olds were playing PewDiePie or like watching PewDiePie play video games, and then the 14-year-olds, like a little bit older. The older demographic were playing video games and couldn't understand why the 5-year-olds would just elect to watch people playing video games instead of playing video games. And then you had the older generation, like their fathers and mothers, looking at their children and going, why don't you guys go outside? Why are you playing video games? So that's a never-ending cycle. And that's the disconnect between generations. And it's nothing new, and it will continue to happen.
Do you feel like that's a fair argument, that it's just a disconnect between generations? And that's why none of us seem to agree on what's going on? Because I kind of feel like there is an overlap. There are a lot of younger people that, you know, definitely, I've had a few of them on the show that are hardcore Trump supporters, and that fully believe in him. I mean, and then I see a lot of older people that are very still true to their liberal beliefs and you know, won't go in that direction at all.
I mean, of course, humans are complicated individuals. Everyone has very different opinions on certain things, and you will have young people that are diehard Trump supporters. You definitely see that because to them, Trump may represent change. And then of course, there are older people that are still liberal. It's right. Just that what I was referring to is just, by and large, people have an opinion of millennials that they're entitled and lazy, and they disagree with some of the things that we're doing, like our right. focus on making an impact on the world. Like, I'm going to generalize, use one of the statements that Simon Sinek used, whatever that means, he said. Yeah. He was like, making an impact, whatever that means. Like, this is something I hear a lot from older generations.
Right.
And that's because, yeah, we are looking to make an impact but that doesn't necessarily mean that we're not working as hard.
Right.
That's what I was referring to as far as the generational disconnect.
Okay.
But of course, there are still. Do
you feel like there's a way to
overwhelming data? When you look at the data, millennials still overwhelmingly voted in favor of Hillary Clinton.
Right.
Whether they did it reluctantly, like myself, or not, they still voted more Democratic.
So do you feel like there's a bridge between the disconnect, or how do you think we can start to solve that issue? Because obviously everybody's really hot right now. Everybody, is engaged right now. Should we be participating in these conversations? Is there a way to do it?
I don't really think that you can solve the generational gap. I don't think it's a problem that you can solve. Like I said, it comes from a place of not understanding progress, not understanding the evolution that we're experiencing as a society. Because think about it this way. Do you know the app Musical.ly?
No.
Are you familiar with this app? You don't know what it is. Okay. So there's this app called Musical.ly, right?
Okay.
And I'm just going to use a social media analogy for this. And that app is frequented by, 12-year-olds, basically. It's an app where you just sing to the camera in slow motion, and then it speeds it up. So, it's just a selfie music app, right? It's insanely popular. And then the people on Musical.ly are now becoming, serious celebrities. Jacob Sartorius is an example. I think he's 14 now, and his fans are 6 years old. And to me, that's insane. I'm why? What this 14-year-old has
right.
Or not even. Hold on, I'm going to look up exactly how old Jacob Sartorius for sake of clarity here. Jacob Sartorius is 14 years old. Okay, he was born in 2002. I'm 25 years old.
Oh my God,
that's mind blowing to me. He has let's see how many. Yeah, he has 1.3 million. No, that's not right. Let's take a look at his YouTube channel. He has 2.2 million followers on his YouTube channel alone.
What could somebody?
Okay?
What can somebody at 14?
Just lip sync songs. What?
Okay, yeah. What can somebody at that age be so popular over?
Yeah, but this is exactly my point. It's that this is the generation that's coming from behind us.
Right.
This is the generation that will follow us. And and you and I are sitting here and we can't even understand that. And they're so close to us in age. So how do you expect a 45-year-old
That's true. That's a good
person
point.
to understand where we're coming from?
That's a good point.
It's just different. And that's why a lot of people in middle America are looking at us and going, why do these people care so much about LGBT-related issues? Why do they care so much about progress when I can't put food on the table? And to them, they think Donald Trump's the kind of guy that they can get on board with, that they think can put food and money, they can bring money back to American families that can put food on the table. And for a lot of white people that voted for Donald Trump, they can overlook the racist stuff. For a lot of men, they can overlook the racist stuff because they or overlook the sexist stuff because they have the privilege to do so. But I really don't know why minority groups voted for Donald Trump, and they still did. way more than they ever have.
Yeah.
When compared to other Republicans. And that blows my mind.
Mind-boggling issue in and of itself. So what I want to do right now is go through some of the issues that are really pressing right now, and I kind of want a quick breakdown, a Hasan breakdown of each of these issues to try to, these are things that I think everybody should be aware of and know about, so I'm hoping you can help us kind of, brief me on them. Okay, first one is freedom of the press. Right now everybody's the press is talking about, or there's a concern that Trump's going to shut them down, or he's continuing to discredit them. And some people say that, this is signs of a dictator. Why is the press so concerned, and how much damage can he actually do?
He's already doing a lot of damage, really tremendous damage. So look, There are checks and balances within the American Constitution, right? There's within the American government. And Congress is one of them. And we already know that the Republican majority, House and Senate, is not doing its job. They're not holding Trump accountable, which, by the way, they are supposed to be doing.
Right.
But what I'm mentioning is, and then there's judiciary, and then they're doing their best. But the fourth estate is media. The fourth estate, as they call it, the final bastion upholding democratic values. And if you discredit the media and you already hold all power in the Congress, then you really don't have a lot of opposition. You can disseminate propaganda as you see fit, which he's already doing through sub-channels like Breitbart and the Blaze Network and Tomi Lahren, and discrediting discrediting any sort of media that is in opposition of the Trump administration. And eventually people, in the end of the day, it's the bully pulpit, right? People have to believe him. He has way broader access and more credibility technically than the media does because he's the president. And a lot of people are starting to believe him and making an enemy of the press along the way. That's terrifying.
Yeah,
But is it like genuine? Is it a genuine infringement of freedom of the press? Not yet.
Okay.
If you ask Keith Olbermann, he thinks so. I kind of agree with what he's saying. As far as like that one tweet, the one tweet he had where he said CNN, ABC, New York Times are enemies of the American public. That is incredibly scary. That statement is just devastating.
Yeah.
It's a devastating statement for a president,
to be making. Yeah, I completely agree.
Yeah. So, so that's terrifying, but we haven't seen real infringement on freedom of the press yet. But, I'm not going to sit here and say fingers crossed, but I mean, it seems to be heading in that direction. Okay. And that's terrifying.
Is there anything that we can do to maybe, I don't know. I mean, I don't even... support your independent news outlets like the Young Turks, or support the New York Times financially. That's all you can do, so they can hire lawyers, so they can hire more journalists, so they can so they can keep the government accountable as best as they possibly can. On top of that, obviously, you have ACLU that needs funding. You have nonprofit organizations like Planned Parenthood that need funding. But from the media angle, what you can do is, like I said, support independent media. Yeah. Okay. I like that. Okay. Talk to me about trans rights. What is this new law that everybody's talking about, and why is everybody so concerned about trans rights and LGBT rights overall?
So that's an interesting question because, it's the LGBT community, and by the way, the trans community hasn't really even gotten any rights yet. Right. But the LGBT community, if we're going to loop it into one general category, has recently seen some civil liberties that cisgender Americans have had access to for a very long time. So that's why we're talking about it, because people are terrified. We just recently got LGBT rights for LGBT Americans, like for example, gay marriage being something that's legal at the federal level. But then on top of that, this is the thing I get from the right, and I love talking to conservative people, some friends, some not. But the thing I get from the right is they want to put a pause on this. Like they want to halt it. They want to halt this progress because they feel like it's taking the attention, it's directing the attention away from economic issues economic struggles that they face. And those economic struggles we face as well. Right. And we try to fight that, but we don't try to fight that by electing Mike Pence as VP. Like that's the key difference here. But yeah, by and large, I think that's the biggest concern around the LGBT-related issues is that this administration has gone back and forth, and Donald Trump is very unique in the sense that he was very LGBT-friendly from the get-go. He was. I mean, it's a fact that he still is the only Republican president or the Republican presidential candidate at the time that waved a rainbow LGBT flag on the campaign trail. Like that's not nothing. Right. That is actually something. He's the only Republican presidential candidate that ever said, I don't care where Caitlyn Jenner goes and uses the restroom. She can use whatever restroom she wants in Trump Tower. Like that's symbolic of his opinion on trans rights in general. However, we're currently now seeing that Donald Trump probably is not going to play a massive part and champion the LGBT rights as he so promised on the campaign trail, because the majority of, his conservative base is very against that progress.
Okay, talk to me about immigration. So we've been hearing things about the Muslim ban. They've now proposed an alternative plan to that. The wall is still happening. Why? And their argument is we're just getting stricter on immigration. Why is that such a bad thing?
So this is interesting. This is an interesting conversation because as far as immigration goes, in the end of the day, undocumented citizens do come here illegally, right? Mm-hmm. So it's almost like a no-brainer for them to tackle as an issue, because they're like, well, these people are here illegally, technically, right? Mm-hmm. But why are they here illegally? It's not like they could have easily went through the steps and took the official route to come here. They had to come here illegally. So there's this humane component that they try to skip over. And Donald Trump is doing that in an incredibly effective way by criminalizing the behavior of illegal immigrants. On the campaign trail, he talked about how Mexicans weren't sending their best out here. They were rapists. They were, bringing in drugs and guns and and they're criminals. And he constantly talks about how these criminal illegal immigrants come in and kill Americans and take the lives of, precious white American lives. Slain in the hands of illegal immigrants. Now, when you look at it, it's statistically just simply, it's not untrue. No, yeah. There are definitely cases where undocumented citizens have, committed atrocious crimes, but it's nothing. It's nothing. It's a statistical insignificance in comparison to American citizens committing crimes. And we also know that these undocumented citizens, especially in sanctuary cities or in states like California, contribute more to society than they take. There's this notion that illegal immigrants come here and, they're taking advantage of the welfare state, when in fact they're not. And they're always, and by and large, they're taking jobs that other people wouldn't want to do, very low income jobs. Therefore, that whole income, the taxation argument is also somewhat insignificant, because the impact that they would have on income, income taxes, it would be minimal, whereas everything that they do, their contribution as far as sales, is drastic, is massive. More than what the government assistance is to California, more than the federal assistance to California, like 10 times more almost. I don't know the exact numbers, but I think they contribute, $157 billion, I believe, in taxes. Wow. That's what undocumented. I want to give you exact numbers, but hold on. Let me just pull that out, actually. But yeah, so there's all this misinformation, and in my opinion, I think they're doing this. They need an enemy. Okay,
right. It's all scare tactics. The administration
needs an enemy, and Muslims provide a perfect enemy. They're both here among us and also abroad, and you should be terrified of them. And I'm here as your protector. That's what dictators do. Right. And we have plenty of different regimes from the past, plenty of different dictatorships from history where we see examples of that. And now Donald Trump is essentially doing, and I wrote about this recently, it's coming out tomorrow in my latest video, where this is this three-pronged approach of purging Latinos with the stricter immigration, and also, the wall, and essentially kicking undocumented immigrants out by using ICE and cooperating with local governments. And even if they've been living here for 10 plus years, there's no budging there. There's no repatriation efforts, even though the American public is 100% on board with repatriation efforts. Right. Instead of have them pay a tax, have them pay a fine, and start their process in repatriation. That's what the majority of Americans want. However, the government will never allow that. Now, and then on top of that, he is banning Muslims, essentially, now 6, and not 7 Muslim nations, but 6 Muslim nations. And even though the writing is different and there's no more religious test involved in it, and they're not asking you, hey, are you a Christian or a Muslim? Which was a stupid question to begin with. In the end of the day, these are still majority Muslim nations that he's denying travel from. And that is creating an insecurity with domestically, and also breeding hatred abroad of America. For these people that still look to America as their final hope, their final salvation, even though Americans have bombed their nations for years. Yeah. So, and then the third is the continuous, not disenfranchisement, but the continuous, what's a better word to use there? I was going to say continuous disenfranchisement of blacks, but I was going to marginalization of black Americans through excessive policing and through discriminatory police practices, and his support of, like Blue Lives Matter or All Lives Matter, and regarding Black Lives Matter movement as a violent terrorist movement, basically, even though it's not.
Right.
So that's the three-pronged approach to non-whites.
So what do you think is, what can we do here? How can we counteract all of this? What are our options? Besides breaking down the barriers and talking about it?
Well, I think we're doing a pretty decent job at combating this oppressive administration so far. Today and tomorrow is International Women's Day, and we have a day without women. There's going to be protests all around the world, and that's huge. I'm going to be walking in downtown, and things like that, mobilization by and large, and telling the government, resisting the government whenever they think they can get away with this stuff is the best thing to do.
Yeah, absolutely.
Civil
get involved.
Disobedience.
Yeah, absolutely. Get involved. Protesting does work. Make sure that you vote. Hasan, I wish we could cover so many more of the other issues that I wanted to go through, but Hasan covers these multiple times a week. Where can people go to watch your videos and tune into the Young Turks?
All my videos are on my Facebook page at facebook.com/Hasan Piker TYT. And you can also find them on the Young Turks, which is facebook.com/The Young Turks. And also on my Instagram, I usually plug them or keep my audience aware of the next video that's coming up, or sometimes I'll even ask them, what should I cover next? And my Instagram is at Hasan D. Piker.
Awesome. Thank you guys so much for listening to #NoFilter. Be sure to follow Hasan. He really does a great job at covering these topics in a way that is bite-sized and easy to digest. So go and check him out. And don't forget to subscribe to #NoFilter every Wednesday on iTunes. We'll be back next week with another awesome episode. Don't forget to follow me at Just Plain Zack across all social media platforms. And you can follow me at The Actual Zack on Snapchat. Don't forget to go out and order my book, When Life Hands You Lemons, Throw Them at People, on Amazon right now. And like Hasan said, you guys go out there, get involved. There are plenty of protests that are going on, plenty of articles that you can read. There are tons of ways that you can support. Donate to Planned Parenthood. Get a subscription to the New York Times. There are tons of ways that you can get involved on very small levels. So please continue to get involved. I will be back next week. Bye.